64 months, 5.5 years, 1,932 days. It was 5.5 years long, away from my family. I was held under brutal conditions. Half of us died in 3.5 years in the jungle. Following that, we were marched 540 miles to Hanoi to jail. And we lived for 2 years in a very cruel jail. We got 2 pieces of bread a day and 2 little cups of thin soup and 4 cups of hot water every day. And we had a bucket for a latrine for the 6 of us in the cell. And it was a hard and cruel jail, but it was nothing like living in the jungle for 3.5 years, where every day was a struggle for survival and half of us died. The worst part was watching my brothers in arms waste away and die of starvation and wounds, and then burying them, wrapping their bodies in bamboo, digging their graves, eulogizing them over their graves. Bill Port was the first of the 5th Cav. In January of '68, his unit was overrun. He was very brave in defense of his position, and the enemy threw a grenade in his position, and he shielded it with his body. He was terribly burned and blinded, and the North Vietnamese picked him up from the battlefield, and they took him to one of their hospitals and kept him for a couple of months. And then they brought him to the POW camp, and we fed him. He couldn't use his hands, he couldn't see. He died within a couple of months. It was tragic, and Bill later got the Medal of Honor, and he is on that wall. Another person, Richard Williams. Richard Williams was a first sergeant. He'd actually been in the Merchant Marine in World War II. He'd been in Korea, and he was in Vietnam, so he was older. I think he was 46 or so. When he was captured in January of '68, had his left hand shot off. And he was a very brave man. He lived in our camp from the time he was captured, January '68, and died in September of '68, just of terrible wounds. Never complained. Just a wonderful person, a waste of a great life. I've been to the wall probably 10 times in my life, and the first few times I came, I tried to search out the names of the people that died beside me, and I did. I found all of them. I think it's a wonderful memorial, and I read that Maya Lin, the lady who designed the wall, spoke of taking a knife and cutting a great gash in the earth, and the grass would grow over it, and the gash was a wound that was the Vietnam War, and the grass would grow over it and heal it. And I see it as an honor to the soldiers and other military people who went halfway across the world to fight for their country.